this. They're gonna run. They're trying to push it.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's 30, and I'm going to call the BZA meeting to order. I'm just going to go down our agenda here, and the next one is Andy. Will you take us through the roll call, please?
Dan Justice, Earl Bolander here, Amanda Jeschke,
Here.
Rick Jacobs, Nathan Sturdevant here.
All right, thank you. If everyone will rise for the pledge, please. All right. This is where I get a little confused. Approve the meeting agenda for tonight. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda for tonight.
A second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's passed. Then the next item is the board to consider approving the September 28th meeting minutes.
I will make a motion to approve the September 28th, 2023 meeting minutes.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, meeting minutes pass. Okay, next item of business is old business. We have none, which is always a good thing. New business. The first case we had up was a case dismissed, so there's no action needed. Is that correct, Adam?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Then moving on down to the first active case we have tonight is variance 10-2023. It's for 518 North Leland Street. And this is for a variance to consider a petition from Mark and Denise Dolan seeking approval of the Development Standard Variances to allow a metal garage as an accessory structure in the rear yard of 518 North Leland Street. So Adam, can you give us the presentation on that one?
All right. Good evening. For the record, I'm Adam Zaklikowski, the Planning and Building Director for the town of Fortville. This first case before you tonight involves a variance request. It's at 518 North Leland, which is at the west. This property is at the west side of the street between Monroe Street and Illinois Street. And it's on about a 60-foot wide by 90-foot deep lot. The owners and the petitioners of the case are Mark and Denise Dolan on Song Creek Court in Fortville or Fishers. The zoning on the property is residential 3.5, and this property is within the Old Town overlay in the zoning ordinance. So there are some additional standards that apply. And the property is being used as a single family residential property, and it is a rental property. And so simply put, the Dolans would like to construct a 288 square foot metal pole barn or garage. So it'd be 12 by 24. And they like that as an accessory structure in the rear yard of their property, replacing a previous garage that was recently demolished. And in order to do so as desired, they are seeking a few variances from the zoning ordinance. So if we take a look at the aerial photo in the parcel map, you can see the property outlined in light blue. It again on the west side of Leland, and it is just north of an alley. And so the driveway would be a rear driveway that comes from that alley. And this particular image is an oblique aerial photo, shows a little bit more detail. Certainly if we need to refer to this or any other exhibits, we can do that. And then this picture and the next one are some recent ground photos that were taken of the home and of the property. And the garage that you see there on the left and the house that is on an adjacent property. So the garage existed in this vacant area on this particular lot before it was tore down. And in fact, you can see here in this image what that garage or storage area looked like at one time before it was demolished. So this is a basic plot plan of what the petitioners would like to do. They'd like to have the garage about 3 feet away from that side property line or rear property line, and then a little over 5 feet from the north property line. And then they'd be adding a concrete driveway out to the alley. And the garage would be a detached garage, meaning it would not be attached to the home. In terms of the elevations here, you can see that it's a fairly straightforward metal building that they're looking to put up. This is what you would see from the alley, of course. And then this is generally what the side would look like. So more specifically, the actual provisions of the zoning ordinance that they're seeking variances from, there's 4 of them. The first one would be a pole barn and a metal building is prohibited in R 3.5 zoning. The second one is that they're looking to do about a 3-foot west side setback for an accessory structure instead of 5 feet as required. Looking for the third item is they're looking for relief on the 1x4 window trim around the window. And then the fourth one is the zoning ordinance requires a minimum 6 to 12 roof pitch. And this is probably more like a 3 or 4 to 12. It's a little bit flatter. In terms of any public feedback or remonstrance to these variances, we're not aware of any remonstrance to these variances. We haven't received any letters, emails, phone calls, anything like that. All the public hearing notice requirements have been met, which included doing a public hearing sign, newspaper publication in the Greenfield Reporter, as well as a mailing to nearby property owners, which included all properties within 600 feet of the property that were at least 2 parcels deep, whichever was less, 600 feet or 2 parcels. So as you recall, for each of our variances, based on Indiana code, there's 3 different tests that you're asked to consider in your granting of a variance. The text in yellow here is my opinion, and you're certainly free to adopt that if you agree with it. So the first one would be the general welfare test, that the approval would not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. I'd say yes, that's been met. Allowing this type of a building in this fairly hidden area off of an alley would not impact those items. The second test is adjacent property. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in this variant will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. I'd say yes, that's been met. It's not in an area governed by an HOA. And as I had mentioned, there's no remonstrance from any nearby neighbors that we're aware of at this time. And then lastly, the practical difficulty test, that the strict application of the terms of the chapter in the zoning ordinance would result in a practical difficulty in the use of the property. I'd say yes, that's been met. A wood-built or stick-built garage would be much more expensive according to the petitioners. And as I mentioned, town staff is unaware of any remonstrance to this proposal from the neighbors. So based on that, my recommendation would be to approve the request and those 4 variances. So if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to address those. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Adam. I have a couple. What size did you say this is going to be?
12 feet wide by 24 feet deep.
Okay. And they're using it, intended uses for a garage or just storage, or does it really matter? I mean, it's
Um,
gonna have an overhead door in it,
Yeah,
Propose,
it
okay.
really doesn't matter.
Okay.
I think they had mentioned that it would be used as a garage for
Okay.
automobiles, but
okay, yeah, right.
regular storage would be fine.
Okay, all right. Does anybody else here on the board have any questions?
Adam, can you run back to the list of the variances real quick?
Mhm.
I just want to make sure I note, because there's 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when we evaluate, or when you evaluated in yellow, you evaluated all 4 of those under that
The-
test, right?
The 3 criteria.
3 criteria.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, just to be clear, as a board, if you were inclined to, you don't have to approve all of them if you didn't want to.
Okay.
But my advice would be to go ahead and approve all 4.
Any question? All right, I have another one. Do we have anything in our ordinances that stipulate we have to have windows or glazing or anything in a detached garage?
No, only garage door windows are required
Okay,
for front loaded garages.
okay. So are there even any windows on this?
Yes, there would be one
Oh, okay,
on the east side of the
okay.
building.
So then the 1x4 that they're asking the variance for will also pertain to the overhead door as well as the service door?
Yes.
All right. All right, if we don't have any more questions here for Adam from the board, we have time in the agenda for the petitioner. Do we have a petitioner available for this project?
Yes,
Yes, Mr. Dolan is on the
This
Zoom
is Mark
call.
Dolan. I am on.
Okay, do you have anything that you would like to add that has not been presented already for this case?
Just a couple comments just on the one variance for a location. That is the exact location of the storage facility that was present previously. So it was, within the 5 feet of the property line as we're proposing to do as well. And then just for the 1x4, if it is a concern on the side window, since it is seen by the street, that window could be removed easily. But then on the garage doors, we are meeting the variance, or not the 1x4, but the windows with the framing of the windows in the garage door, which was requested from Adam. So we did include that as well. So on the north side, the setback was actually a little bit larger than what was previously. So we are exceeding the 5 feet, which was the minimum. So it's only the west boundary that we would be or within the 5 feet, which, like I said before, that's the same exact position, the old.
And is the west boundary, is that the alley side?
That would be down the alley side. Yes. The one behind the house. Correct.
Okay.
And from the pitch perspective, I know there was a question about the pitch. We went 4x12 to somewhat match the house because it does have a low pitch on the roof as well. So that's part of the reason we're going to the 4x12 pitch.
Okay. Does this building, is it a stick built or is it a prefab or does it just?
It will be a stick built.
It is stick built. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And the intention is for a garage. So
As for a garage. Okay. Well, stay on the line there. We may call you back to answer some more questions. Have time for public response for or against. Do we have anyone here or on Zoom? All right, that's no. Time for government officials. Is anybody here from the government official that would like to, I see shaking of heads no on that too. Okay. So does the board have any additional questions for the petitioner at this point?
no.
So real quickly, on the trim, so the solution would be just to remove the window instead of provide the trim itself?
Well,
If that is,
the,
sorry, go
yeah, I
ahead.
was,
Adam.
the, because an accessory structure needs to follow the residential design guidelines.
Right.
The residential design guidelines require that if you're putting in a window, that it's supposed to have trim around it.
Right.
By 1x4. And in this case, it appeared that they're based on the drawings that there's a window, but no trim.
Right.
So it just got lumped into the variance request.
Right. And the remedy would be to just remove the window entirely.
I guess that or add trim. I mean, as long as, because obviously the building is going to be metal, we could have a metal trim around the window as well, I guess, but, which isn't,
Okay.
I guess, necessarily depicted in the picture. So. Or the window could be removed if that's.
Okay. You seem a little hesitant there, Nathan, so I don't want to.
What was the reason for, if the trim can be added, what was the reason for requesting? Is it is it financial relief on the trim or?
Well, to be honest, I didn't realize that was a variance concern, because when Adam and I discussed it previously, it was for location and material, which is metal versus the, like materials of the house.
Sure.
So that was not discussed. So like I said, I don't see that being a concern as far as adding, the metal trim around the window and the garage as well, if that's a concern. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see here. So I think we have any other questions back to Adam? All right. Well, then it's that time to have a board member approve with conditions, or deny this variance tonight. And we'll do all 4 items in one, unless you see a problem with one of them, want to separate it out.
I'll go and move to approve the variances as presented.
All right. Do I have a second?
No.
Okay, I don't have a second. So
We
let,
discussed.
yes, so let's discuss again.
Okay.
What are your thoughts, Nathan?
It just feels like when we got the 4 to 12 makes sense.
Okay,
The offset, replacing the structure as is makes sense. We talk about, it just feels like it's an additional, the trim, and maybe I'm dying on an anthill here,
Okay.
but it feels like an unnecessary request for a variance that we shouldn't just wholesale be. If it's not a practical difficulty, does it really pass that test? Or that variance? And
so
that's where I'm hung up.
if we hold to the letter of the ordinance and they put in doors or windows, then they have to put in 1x6. Is that correct, Adam?
1x4.
1 by 4.
Or 1x4?
Mhm.
Okay, now you've got me confused, because one of the relief variances that they're asking for is
Have no trim.
to have the 1x4 trim required. So you're saying,
That-
okay, I
Yeah,
guess
the
I'm
way
getting,
it's, the way it's written is, simply put, 1x4 window trim is required.
And I think the proposal is no trim on the window. So
Correct.
if it can be added and it's not a practical difficulty, should we not be running that variance through those same 3 tests? I guess that's my question for the group.
I don't have a feeling one way or the other on it, I guess.
And maybe
Um,
this is an anthill. But I'm dying. So
well,
that's why I want to talk through it.
So you think that we should require the 1x4?
I don't think it passes that 3rd practical difficulty. The other 2, I don't think it impacts, but
Okay.
and the rest of them make sense. This just feels like, and it sounds like it was an oversight from the beginning or something that just wasn't discussed. So it's not like it's something that they've come to us saying
Okay.
they're not going to meet there. He's saying he's willing to do that. So why would we approve?
It being omitted then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Setting, I mean, I just don't want to set precedent on things that we're just,
Okay, so,
Can
because,
I'm sorry, can I make a comment again? Sorry.
please,
Okay, no, just going back on that, as I stated, so that was never discussed as being a zoning variance when I spoke with Adam. So I never, obviously the pictures don't depict a 1x4 trim. There will be obviously some trim because the siding has to butt up to the window. So there is some trim included. So going to a 1x4, like I said, is not a concern if that's, the recommendation. Certainly going to a 1x4 trim is no issue.
okay, so it sounds like we can remove that one bullet point off of the variance list.
Yeah.
And it'll just follow okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, we have a motion made. Can we just amend that motion?
are we making
Yes.
a motion?
You can amend it.
Okay. So can you amend that, please?
Previous motion with the amendment that the 1x4 window trim is required.
All right. Now, do I have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Give us a minute here to do our paperwork, or we'll forget what we just voted on.
So the condition would be that.
All right, thank you very much.
Because the way
Thank
it's
you.
listed, thank you. The way it's listed is that it's all 4 bundled, right? We don't have separate sheets. So we would
Right.
put a condition that the 1x4 trim is required.
Yes.
Yes.
Make sure, okay.
Okay, condition. Once we have our paperwork, if you'll pass it down, we'll get it to. Sorry, not to rush you there,
No.
Nathan.
All good.
Okay.
And. Thank you.
Okay, moving forward to our next case tonight, I'm going to recuse myself because this is one of my personal projects. So I'm going to turn this portion now over to Nathan.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next we will evaluate case number variance 11/2023, 10 Noel Avenue. It's in front of me. Howard variances to consider a petition from Kevin Crotchfelt on behalf of Mitch Howard seeking approval of variances to allow a relocated single-family residence within the commercial community CC zoning district. Adam, will you please
Sure.
give us the presentation?
All right, so before I do the presentation on this one, I've got a quick question for Alex. Yeah, we won't have enough people to
Oh,
vote with Amanda recusing herself.
Yeah, we were on the same page, Adam. You saw my direct message. So with that being the case, I think we ought to table this to the next meeting when we would have enough members to at least have a majority to vote on it.
So just to be clear, you can't have a majority of people that are here. It's an
Correct.
actual, okay, it's a quorum of the whole board.
Yeah, so it's a quorum for the meeting, but it still takes a majority of the 5 to take any final action. So anything that's done tonight would need to be a unanimous vote to pass.
Okay, so I'll leave it up to you. If you want me to do the presentation here tonight, I can do that. So you have that information, or we can just table, if you want to make a motion to just table it until the next meeting.
since we would need to present again for the additional members, maybe we just table it and
Okay.
to avoid any conversation too ahead of time with this being
Okay.
BZA. Okay. So,
That would be my recommendation as well, just to,
Okay.
so it's one time through, any interested parties have the ability to to be there. And since we're announcing the continuance this evening at the meeting, there's no further notice or anything that needs to go out.
Okay. All right, so case variance 11/2023, 10 Noel Avenue, Howard variances will be continued to the November BZA meeting. All right, with that, I think that concludes our business for this evening. Do I have a motion? Oh,
Is there a way that we could possibly do an interim BZA meeting to speed this up? Are we allowed to do that?
Yeah, we could certainly call a special meeting if we can get a majority of the board to do that. And I think given the time sensitivity, that's probably a good idea in this case.
So who would take control of that too?
Well, what I can do is tomorrow I can take a look at the schedule and try to and propose a time and date here, see if it all works for everybody.
Okay, well,
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
If we can't arrive on a date and time this evening in the public meeting, and we decide that later, then we would need to send out the updated notice, just like for tonight's meeting. They would just have to resend out all the notice.
Alex, the question.
Was that to me? I couldn't
Yeah.
hear.
If you want to go up to.
Yeah, sure.
So we have to resend out the same letters that we already sent out with just the new date and time on it?
Correct.
Okay. And that's if we didn't approve it tonight, correct?
But
Yeah,
we
if
don't know what others
in
do
the
with it.
public meeting, if tonight we can decide on a specific date and time, then it's in the public meeting, and the way that without getting into the weeds, the open door law allows that.
Okay.
If we pick a date and time outside of the public meeting this evening, then we need to give notice again to everyone that got it the first time.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Get
then
Dan and
let's,
Rick on the horn right at the public meeting.
yeah, let's propose this then. So the plan commission meeting this month
exactly.
has been canceled because there are no items. So, and that was moved to Monday, October 30th, so folks can enjoy Halloween on Tuesday. So how about Monday, October 30th at 6:30 p.m.
That would be fine. It'd be good.
Okay,
Sure.
so
Okay.
do we need to vote on, how does that work?
That is.
You can take it by consensus, that's fine, or you can have a formal vote, but
Okay.
All right. I'm good. Guess, yeah.
So the plan will be to have a special BZA meeting Monday, October 30th at 6:30 p.m.
Correct.
Just so that we're announcing it.
And we need at least 4 people here
Right,
if Amanda's included.
right,
3 if she's.
right. Yeah,
You can just-
well, I'll still be here. But Dan is also on plan commission, so he would have hopefully have already had
Right.
that slated, so. And I haven't seen an email go out on that. I saw it on Facebook, but I didn't see an email that it had been canceled yet, so
Okay.
hopefully their placeholder is still open.
All right. Thank you for Monday.
Monday, the 30th,
6:30.
6:30.
Okay.
Okay, all right,
Thanks, all.
thank you.
Send a note, let them know it's important. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
go on.
so, yeah, if there's no other business tonight, I looking for a, motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
All right, do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
All right, thanks, Alex.
Have a good night. See you Monday.
Yeah. I guess we didn't ask Alex.